Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 13 of What Lies Ahead, the Bay Club's conversation with its members and the community at large. As we've kicked off this week focusing on the private clubs becoming an essential business in phase 2, as promised, we are now going to start talking to each of our regional leaders, plus members from the region. It has been one of the most asked for content topics as we go through the new normal email. And I'd like to say a great thank you. We are focused today on the LA and San Diego markets, and a couple of the members who have written us this week. I've got Susan Price, Ralph Umetsu, and Sophie Welch. Thank you so much for your suggestions and your taking the time to write us, and we hope that the conversation today answers some of your questions. So with that, let's start with introductions. First, I'd like to introduce Ms. Ann Wharton.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ann Wharton. I'm Senior Vice President in the Los Angeles market. As far as background, I've worked in the hospitality field for over 30 years, everything from a front desk associate to waiting tables and bartending, anything that had to do with people I really love. I'm originally from Tucson, Arizona. Go Wildcats. And I really appreciate this community and what we're doing. Really excited to chat.
Great, thank you for joining us. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Alan Yap.
Hi, everyone. Member of Manhattan Country Club since 1995, and also a newly minted tennis pro there as of 2020. Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. Next, I'd like to introduce Brenton Rice.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me on the call again today. I'm excited to talk through what we're doing on the club side of things to get open. Been in the hospitality, golf industry, active lifestyle industry for over 14 years now, almost 10 years with the Bay Club, and I'm very happy to be part of this team and part of this process. Thank you.
Great, thanks for being here, Brenton. Next up, I'd like to introduce you to Miss Sarah Gordon.
Hi, I'm a member over at the El Segundo Bay Club. Been a member for about 17 years. Was originally at the Howard Hughes location, so a lot of the folks there, we've migrated over to El Segundo and love the club.
Great, thank you so much for joining us. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Bryan Andrus.
Hi, Bryan Andrus, been a member of the Carl Valley Bay Club and now Fairbanks as well since Carl Valley had opened back in the early 2000s.
Great, thank you so much for being here today. Next on our panel today is Mr. John Dempsey.
Been a member at Fairbanks Ranch Country Club since 2014. Lucky enough to be on the golf advisory board and have had the opportunity to spend some time with Matthew and Brenton and Michael and Cody and some of the other leaders at the club through the golf advisory board, and real pleased to be on the conversation this morning.
Great, thank you so much for joining us. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Nick DeCalia. I'm not sure if I ever say your name right, Nick. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, Annie. DeCella, okay. Close enough. Pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me. This is my second year down in the San Diego campus, 9th overall at the Bay Club. I spent the previous 7 years in the LA market working at 4 of the clubs in the South Bay Beach Cities region. Pleasure to be on, and thank you.
Okay, I'll get your name right next time, I promise. And last, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Tony Alegre.
Good morning, everybody. You got my name right. Thank you, Annie. My name is Tony Alegre. I'm a Vice President General Manager in the LA campus. I started in the company in 2004, back when Matthew was also the CEO. Worked a whole bunch of different jobs. Started out as a personal trainer, worked at a whole bunch of different clubs. Ended up at our flagship club. If you look at Matthew's screen, he's standing right in front of my club right now. So happy to be here.
Great, thank you so much. Boss, I'm going to hand it off to you for this exciting panel today.
Great, thanks, AA. First of all, unbelievably appreciative of the team on the screen, both our management team and for our members taking time out to have a conversation. As we promised the What Lies Ahead group that we would now focus on a regional basis and start 4 out of the 5 days a week, it'll be focused on our regions. Today is Southern California. We'll do East Bay and Oregon next. Then we'll do our South Bay clubs up in Northern California, and then our North Bay clubs in Northern California. So, and we'll rotate around to keep giving members and the whole Bay Club community a very detailed game plan of what we're up to. And as we've talked, we're very focused. Yesterday, in the last couple of days, we're taping this on a Wednesday and it'll air on a Friday. Yesterday, which was Tuesday, Gavin Newsom came out with starting to talk about the framework of how we get the state of California open and giving guidance and directions to the various counties. And so we are very, very focused on making sure we're part of Essential Services Phase 2 and that we can get our doors open and welcome our members back and in a healthy and safe manner. Our team is extremely busy right now getting everything ready to go. I'm going to start in San Diego, talk to the San Diego crew first, and then we'll talk to Los Angeles. So Brenton, your backdrop is Fairbanks Ranch Country Club. There's been a huge debate down in San Diego because the Sacramento and Palm Springs markets already have golf open in the state of California. And we're really working hard with the various officials in San Diego. We think that should break sooner versus later to allow us to open up Fairbanks for both golf, tennis, and outdoor aquatics as part of it. You've been an integral part of that. You want to talk a little bit about it and sort of explain some of the things we're taking to put in safety protocols.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're absolutely right about definitely there's several golf courses, several properties in this area, several clubs that are really pushing the envelope to get open. That which has ended up creating a lot of dialogue with the local authorities, with the sheriff's department. We've had several back and forth with them just to make sure that we are doing everything we can to push the envelope to be able to get open. We've created our guiding principles to get the golf courses open. No social congregating. At any area of the golf club, we've got members only. No guests to start off with. Reservations have to be made. Using 4Ts, which is a tee sheet system that our members are used to using as is. We'll likely be increasing our tee time intervals maybe by 3 or 5 minutes just to start off to spread out the traffic, because again the social distancing is really what's most important to being able to open again. Modified cart usage, we'll have one person per cart. There's some creative ideas that we've seen across the country where people are putting, instead of taking rakes completely away for bunkers, we can have one rake in the golf cart. So there's ideas like that that we're working through. The pins being, the cups on the greens being raised above the ground a little bit, so members aren't having to pull the flag stick out. If the ball hits the cup, then it's deemed hold out. So there's definitely a lot of creative ways that we can get our golf properties open, and quite honestly, it's a lot more than just golf too. We have, specifically at Fairbanks, we have 27 holes, so we'll start with 18 holes of golf, and then we'll have another 9 available for family recreation, because down here in San Diego, you still are seeing families out all over the place, taking their dogs for a walk, or on bike rides, or just getting outside to get some fresh air. So again, a lot of work that's being done, not by myself, but our entire team here in San Diego to really push that envelope to get open.
Great. So Mr. Dempsey, we've had the pleasure of getting to know you over a number of years, and you've always brought a really great perspective to the table. So love to get your thoughts on where we sit today and how we move forward.
Well, first off, really excited about what Brenton just said and the opportunity that might be forthcoming for all the membership to go out and utilize the course, the full 27 holes. I guess, Brenton, the first question I'd ask would be, how about the driving and the practice facilities? Will they also be open?
Great question. So we do have protocols in place where we will, for a driving range, for example. So as you know, at Fairbanks, the traditional way to approach the driving range is to check in with the range attendant. You would grab a couple bags of balls. Now, some of the adjustments that we'll end up likely making is going to be, every other stall is available on the mats to start off with. And then in order to first of all, in order to access the practice facilities, you'll need to have a tee time again to start off. So we're controlling the traffic as much as possible, keeping that social distance top of mind. But now you can get balls by checking in with the range attendant. They'll bring over a small bucket of balls. They'll dump it for you. So there's a lot less back and forth of people grabbing things. That's really what we're trying to eliminate as much as possible, which is why you won't see sand bottles on the golf carts as well. So as far as the practice putting green, I have a great photo I can send around as well at some point. But the chalk that you use to chalk lines on a baseball field, we're able to use that because it doesn't do any damage to the practice, to any of the putting greens. So we'll actually section off areas of the putting green that allow you plenty of space, likely 15 by 15 squares, 20 by 20 squares, or that type of surface area to keep that social distancing.
So Brenton, in order to use the practice range, you have to have a tee time.
I think that one's still open for the discussion. That's that part of the, the good news about this is a real conversation, right? What we're playing off of is Sacramento and Palm Springs right now. Both areas in California are open. They've got their driving range, their putting greens, and their courses open. And we're using that as a guide to sort of understand what they've done to keep it safe and healthy, but to be able to provide more. If we had this conversation on April 1st, the discussion was you have to keep your driving range and your putting green closed in order to get even a chance to open. And so as that world continues to evolve, we want to make sure we have proper social distancing, but we can also provide an opportunity for as many people as possible, not unlike what you've seen the grocery stores, Target, Home Depot, others do. We just have to find that cadence, and we'll work in hand to hand with the membership base, if that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. How about access to the locker room, Brenton, to get in? And guys have all their shoes in there and some of their golf clothes that they haven't touched in a couple months. Is that on the menu, or is that for a later date?
Yeah, so I think the way we've structured it is to, when you walk into our clubs, it's going to be very similar to where you see at the grocery stores, where you're going to have directional arrows directing you. You'll see 6 foot to 8 foot squares where you can only have one person in the square. So at this point, we would love to have that access available, but as Matthew said, it's a forever moving needle.
Great.
Yeah, so the follow-up to it is, look, if we were looking at this in April 1st, we thought we were going to have to keep our buildings closed. But our friends in the grocery store and the sort of the essential services phase 1 have helped build the roadmap. So what you'll have is an attendant outside of the locker room, and there will only be a certain number of people allowed, and there'll only be if your locker is next to a person during certain codes, you'll have to wait until that cubby area has been vacated as part of that setup. We'll have a bottle there of sanitation for that member to basically sanitize what they touched, and then we'll have somebody be able to go into that next phase. Our intentions are for our athletic clubs to every other shower, every other toilet, every other sink, with a staff member there to sanitize the area as that person leaves and a new person comes in to take that setup. So all of those protocols are being built to give us the chance to allow you to have as full of an experience as possible. It's changed a lot in the last 15 days. April 1, it felt like it was going to be on, a much, much more militaristic environment. And I do believe the best way to look at this is, as you've seen the grocery stores and sort of places like Target and Home Depot adapt, we're able to learn off of what they've learned.
Yeah, Matthew, listen, I applaud the efforts. This is really fantastic, and I understand the difference in the thought process here today versus what it would have been April 1st.
Yep.
One last question, and then a quick comment. Some of the other clubs are running takeout from their restaurant facility. Have we thought about doing anything at Fairbanks to offer a very limited takeout menu for the members?
Yeah, I think that on the food side of the world across the system, what we're trying to figure out is, what you can't afford to do is ramp up we have our staff on pay, but you can't then ramp up the entire restaurant with product and only have a small percentage of volume. And so I think we're trying to think about Tuesdays and Thursdays takeout for the entire membership base on family meals once we turn the lights back on, so that you can have that, but it will slowly turn on. F&B will have basic fundamentals for you for the course. So we'll have the non-alcoholic and alcoholic beverages and little treats and things that you can have. And then we have to figure out how to turn on F&B, but we can't afford to have an entire kitchen full of things and only have 10% volume for it, or else it'll be completely upside down. So it will be a process that will go in concert with the members for.
Fantastic. And one last comment, really applaud everything you've done for the employees across the nation, for all of Bay Club, keeping everyone on salary, working things out for them. And that's really a fantastic effort on your part. And I congratulate and I thank you. I'm proud to be a member. Bryan looks like he's in great shape compared to me. You know, I'm a golfer. I'm not the Bay Club guy. I'm sorry to say that. So Bryan will probably have all the questions as it relates to physical fitness.
He puts me to shame as well, so don't worry about it. I'm hanging with you, Mr. Dempsey.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right. BA, we've known each other for a long time. You started your career in life science inside of our world and have advanced into a really cool position down in San Diego. Been a member of the clubs for a really long time. Interested to get your perspective.
Yeah, I'd like to echo that I'm very proud to be a member, and I think you've done a fantastic job with the communication. You know, what you've put out may not be pleasant for people to hear, but you're being honest and, you know, you're being very realistic. Question I have about right now is about tennis, if it's going to be limited to singles or if you can play doubles, if there are going to be any restrictions on the courts in terms of where people sit, if you're setting up multiple benches, you know, how is that going to work?
Yeah, so Nick, you want to give a stab at it, and I'll fill in some of the extra details from that perspective?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Bryan. From tennis, we're looking at it from the singles standpoint and the cleanliness of the balls and same family households as we go through with the doubles. So we're allowing doubles partners from same households or same social groups that are okay in small groups playing together. From the benches standpoint, we are mapping out the flow throughout the entire property here at Carmel Valley to be able to keep the social distancing. And we're working through the tennis product on how we enter and leave, and then also how we have it staffed and the cleanliness after each and every hour of play.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, we as you know, we've got a lot of veterans on our tennis squad. Gordy Collins has been with us for 40 years. He's integral part of the USTA, and you know some of the recommendations we're hearing from USTA is we'd like people to wear a glove on their non-dominant hand, so that's how they're handling the ball. The different players will have their own set of balls that they'll serve with, and so that only the person who's serving is actually touching the ball as part of that setup. We're going to play it safe on the double side. As we said, it's got to be inside your social circle. We're not going to be pairing strangers onto a court from a doubles perspective. We've ordered additional ball machines so that ball machines can be operated. The great news about ball machines, you can put 4 or 5 people into a clinic that's socially distanced, but you never have to touch the balls. So the balls can be swept up by the machine. You take out the basket and you just apply them back into the ball machines. And so we're really trying to, again, if we talked April 1st, it was more militaristic. As it loosened itself up, it's gotten a little bit better for April 15th, but we're prepared to have whatever toggles necessary to make sure our customers are safe and that we're complying by all the CDC rules, but also to allow people to get out and do some recreation and mental health and physical activity. So that's our game plan.
That's fantastic. I take it people would have to bring their own towels and water as well?
No, again, same concept is we'll have everything sanitized. We will have all the towels sanitized. Our team will have masks and gloves on. So we'll be able to have those components available as a private club service for the members. And, you know, you know, the easiest thing I can tell you is we're studying the grocery stores and Home
Right.
Depot, Target intensely. You know, all of our staff will be behind plexiglass, so there'll be a distance between the members from that perspective, and we'll be able to have an interaction like you're seeing in the grocery stores.
Fantastic. That's great. And then in the gym, there'll be additional sanitizing stations or hand sanitizers.
Yeah, sort of. I think we're attacking it two ways. One is we're distancing the equipment, so you'll see the equipment's been spread out both indoors and outdoors. So everything will be, you know, sort of an 8 by 8 square, so that there's nothing, you know, interacting with each other. But the great news about Bay Club is we have these big complexes that allow us to spread out over hundreds of thousands of square feet or acreage that we have. So we'll have all of that, and we'll have all the sanitation, so that everything will be, you know, you'll be able to control your environment probably much better than you can in the grocery store side of the world. Yeah. And we should be part of the, you know, we should be considered definitely essential service phase 2.
Yeah, I do hope you get that designation.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look forward to getting back out there.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go up to LA. Our long-term Manhattan Country Club member, transitioning over to the tennis squad, looking very comfortable in the world of Mr. Yap. I'd love to get your perspective on things in the world of Manhattan Beach, California.
Hi, everyone. First of all, I applaud you for being extremely proactive in terms of planning and prepping, and also kind of utilizing what, you know, the essential services in terms of groceries and the other stores have done in order to open. So with that said, it's also important that when the timing, you know, takes shape as far as the club, you know, you being completely open to you explaining how things need to work and disclosing that actually is important as far as the membership, because once you kind of create the rules of engagement in terms of tennis and the pool and the gym, you know, it's really important that you share with them that, you know, these are things that have to be stringent in the beginning, and as, you know, life calms down and this situation kind of, you know, calms down also, that, you know, normalcy will return. I mean, as normal as we can get at this point.
Yeah, it's great feedback. What I love, Ann, why don't you give the Bay Club community a sense of the project you guys are working on with the video of the facility that allows people to understand how the circulation is going to work, all of the social distancing and the protocols that were put in place that we have to deliver to the counties, and then we'll publish it for the membership base and a whole variety of ways for them to understand what the world will look like under the new norm.
Yeah, as you mentioned, we're all still employed, so we're all still working very, very hard behind the scenes. So it's great. It's been great across every club to have everyone come together and share best practices, because when we're open, a lot of times we don't have a lot of time when we're servicing members to really interact with each other so much. So over the past number of weeks, everywhere from Portland to San Diego, we've all been sharing best practices for tennis, for swim, for overall traffic patterns. So each club has taken their club and looked at kind of it from a map, where we can map out traffic patterns. We can map out only one-way traffic to go to, whether it be a tennis court or a pool. The aquatics team is doing great work on how do we throw an aqua aerobics class? How do the master swimmers swim? We just spoke about tennis that is doing a great job underway. And then finally, something that's been really interesting, and we're lucky enough to live in sunny California, where we can pivot to our great outside resorts. And as Brenton mentioned, we have tons of space in a number of our facilities, as well as giant basketball courts and roll-up doors that really have an indoor-outdoor feel to it. We're considering moving some of the cardio equipment outside and for our respective club, perhaps over center court deck, where there used to be a bunch bunch of seating packages. We'll then move into treadmills and rowers so people can be outdoor and exercise. There'll be things like workout pods where members can have their own socially distanced space to have some weights outside, perhaps yoga mat, things like that, to really utilize our outdoor spaces and make sure that people are staying active in a safe environment.
Great, great. Sarah, thank you for being a member of ours for 17 years between HH and now the world that Tony oversees. I think you've followed his career because he was the commandant of HH, and now
I follow Tony around. That's what I do.
Exactly. Interested to get your thoughts.
I mean, I echo what others have said about you know, being very happy about how you guys are not only engaging with the members and getting our feedback, but also taking very good care of your employees. And of course, finding out ways to reopen as safely as possible, because I'm definitely dying to come back, but obviously when it's safe. 17 years of PK spin class, it's kind of tough to be without it, but very thankful for the online courses that you guys have been putting up. I just took PK spin class last night for the first time. I don't have a spin bike here, so I did it on a rower, but you know what? That's fine. I would have just stood there and danced if I needed to, just getting a workout in here. So very appreciative for those. My question would be around 4 classes like that, because that's what I take the most is spin class. And then the last probably 6 months before everything shut down, I was taking a lot of Ignite classes. And obviously with social distancing, you know, what's the plan to maybe keep those 2 classes as possibilities?
That's great. Tony, that's a softball for you. Go ahead.
That's for you, Tony.
So obviously you mean not online classes, you mean when we opened the facility?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So the challenge for an indoor club like El Segundo obviously is the social distancing. So what we've done is we've thought of, we're trying to outsmart the final decision, whatever that might be. And so we're coming up with this flow chart of different contingency plans. So if the final decision is going to be, well, we can open the outdoor facilities first, there's an easy way to convert almost, I think, every single club that we have. So we have 6 clubs in LA, have some sort of an outdoor capacity, believe it or not. So at El Segundo, we have that full basketball court and this huge elephant door that, in a sense, turns that into a half-in, half-outdoor basketball court. And then we'll probably not need all of our parking the first 30, 60, 90 days. So we have, one section of the parking lot we can move, Ignite equipment out there. We can move the spin bikes out there. We can move the spin bikes into the basketball court. There's a lot of different possibilities. If they are going to allow us to come indoors, then there are countless possibilities there too. So it's limiting the amount of people coming into that space. It's thinning out the equipment, making it so that in Ignite, for people who are watching who aren't familiar, there are groups of people actually crossing paths and exchanging different methodologies. And so limiting that so that there's less cross traffic. So there's a ton of things we can do. And again, like I said, we were trying to basically outsmart what's the decision that's going to come in the future soon, so that we're prepared to pivot to any potential possibility.
Yeah, so again, it goes back to this April 1, April 15. In April 1, we were concerned we might not get the opportunity to open up the indoor spaces. And so we had to think outdoor first and very restrictive, sort of militaristic environments. I think the world has learned a bunch in the last 15 days, especially led by our grocery and Targets and Home Depots of the world. And so we're playing off of that net. We do expect that basketball is going to be the one sport that we're probably going to trail behind, because we don't really have a social distancing solution for basketball. So on a positive note, we have bought a number of shooting machines that are self-use, that will be able to have a portion of the basketball for drills and programs for basketball, but then it leaves us a big space to put classes like spin on. So if we're completely indoors, those cycling bikes will be indoors on a big basketball court in order to give the proper spacing to be able to do those classes. If we're outdoors, those bikes are going to be outdoors on the pool decks and things like that from that perspective. So there's a lot of creativity being thought of. It's sharing the different resources that Bay Club has. You know, we have Redondo Beach, which is up the waterfront. We've got a 15,000 square foot turf field. We also have some area of the beach that we may be able to use for yoga classes and things like that. So, you know, we've got our creative hats on, really focused on making sure we can create an amazing experience for our customers. But it's time to get the lights back on. And if we can do it in a essential services phase 2, just like our brethrens in grocery and places like Target and Home Depot, we're ready to do it and the work's being done. So hopefully the Bay Club community can feel confident that we're ready to go. And we're knocking on the doors of all of our county officials. You know, let us prove that you can trust us. You can trust the private clubs, and we will lead the way to do the right thing, but also help this world continue to get back to some types of new normalcy from that perspective. So with that, I just want to say thanks. I get to turn it over to AA. She gets to do the fun part of the finish up of what lies ahead. This is our first regional broadcast with our group from San Diego and Los Angeles. And, you know, we're unbelievably appreciative of you guys taking time out of your schedule to chat with us. So AA, you want to take it away?
Thanks, boss. Happy to. So my favorite part, as always, as we get to the close, is we get to an opportunity to say, what are we thankful for, and shout out a small business. Today, I'm really thankful for coaches. I've got 3 boys, and they all play sports. And just like the teachers, coaches have had to stop, you know, kind of their day-to-day practices. And we have been really, I'm grateful for what they have done for us. We have an everyday schedule. We have videotaping, we have classes, and then tests on the weekends that my kids are engaged in. And it's been really helping as we continue to try and find some structure where there isn't much right now. So I'd like to shout out to the coaches out there that are going above and beyond and helping kids that are wishing they were outdoors playing sports. And my small business is a little toy store in Lafayette, California called Learning Express. They totally saved me for Easter when I realized on Thursday that I had forgotten baskets. And so with a phone call, they were able to pack up bags for me. I pulled into the parking lot, sent them a note, and they filled up my trunk. Totally well done from a socially distancing perspective. And I'm just incredibly grateful that Sunday morning, the Easter table was filled with lots of items versus me making up a song and dance. So that's my small business shout out for the week. Nick, why don't I turn it to you?
Thank you, Annie. Yeah, first, I'm very thankful for my family, my wife and kids during these unprecedented times. Obviously, it's been unprecedented times in our household with the 2 of us home working full time and trying to take care of a 3- and 4-year-old. It's been troublesome and learning hour by hour, trying to keep them engaged. And, you know, I think they're watching more TV than we'd like them to, but, you know, we're doing our best. So I'm just very thankful for their patience and the patience that we've all had together and trying to get through these times. And the small business, we recently moved to North County here in San Diego during, in the past 30 days during all this chaos. So it's been quite a month for us. But the Costa Roasting is a small coffee shop that is still open up in Carlsbad. And it gets us out on a morning walk with the kids. And it's right next to the Carlsbad Library, which is where my 4-year-old just recently learned how to ride his bike for the first time. So we pulled off the training wheels, and these extra hours that I've had with him, it's been awesome to see him take the training wheels off and the confidence he has riding bikes. So I'm just thankful for the time that I've gotten with my kids here in the past month.
Thanks, Nick. That's awesome. I remember bike ride learning for the first time. It's been a couple years for me. Tony, I'm going to go to you.
I am eternally grateful for my wife, who also has a full-time job. She doesn't have an office. She works from home in general anyway, but she typically doesn't have my son at home. Obviously, he's in school. so she's not able to focus on the aspects of her job. My son is in Chinese immersion, so she teaches him Chinese. I'm responsible to teach him English. Before, she was doing both, but she had asked me to lend a hand because she's going a little bit out of her mind. We also have her elderly father who has dementia living with us, and so that complicates things as well. But she's a saint. I don't know how she does it, but she does it. She keeps the family together. Sarah knows her well, I think. Yeah, so I just wanted to make a shout out for her. As far as a local business, we live in Playa Vista. I'm not sure if it's a small business, but I think it might be 2 or 3 restaurant chain. A little restaurant called Sol, S-O-L. It's a Mexican restaurant. Great margaritas. They're getting us through these troubled times very nicely. So shout out to Sol.
The restaurants are doing a great job keeping us all sane, yeah. I think. Mr. Dempsey, I'll go to you.
So many things to be grateful for. First, this opportunity. I'm grateful for this opportunity, and to get to know Matthew better over the years has been wonderful. We went into lockdown on March 16th with 6 of our grandchildren, and I truly learned the rationale behind the saying that people have children when they're young, because they've given us a run for our money. And because they've been here quite a bit, I'm grateful for Lucadia Pizza and the delivery service that they have. So
that's awesome. 6 grandkids. Congratulations. Mr. Andrus, I'll go to you.
I'm grateful for many, many things. Health, family, the fact that people in San Diego, for the most part, are doing a good job at maintaining and the social distancing and actually abiding by, the regulations that are out. I think that's helping compress and keep the curve flattened. We're in a unique situation because we're a laboratory and point of care diagnostics, so we're very much in the thick of all of the communications and public health, and some of the other areas in the country are not doing as well. And so I'm very, very grateful for San Diego and everybody in the community here that is served by Bay Club, for being compliant. Shout out, I was going to say Lucadia Pizza because that's what we've been feeding our laboratory staff. I'll include Jimbo's for helping my wife and I be able to maintain some healthy meals with some great produce.
That's great. We're going to have to try Lucadia Pizza next time we're down in San Diego, boss.
Ms. Gordon,
I'll go to you.
I'm thankful for having a job and a paycheck, which I know there are so many people that don't right now, and I can't imagine having a service job that you can't work and you have kids and now they're home and you have to do homeschooling and all that. I can't even imagine. So thankful for the situation that I'm in. I'm lucky to have a great quarantine partner. Local businesses. My favorite El Segundo restaurant is Mendocino Farms. Best gluten-free bread sandwiches ever. And also Mama D's in Manhattan Beach. But I mean, support your local restaurants, all your restaurants. Swingers closed, for heaven's sakes. Let's not have restaurants closed. Let's start ordering and keep them going.
Yeah, that's great advice. They really do need our help. Brenton, I'll go to you.
About a week ago I was on, and I thanked my mom because she's been making masks for several people, and I got mine. I have several that I got in the mail. My mom made one for Nick as well, a Green Bay Packers one. So thank you, Mom, for sending us those. As far as a local business, Seaside Market in Cardiff, they have some of the best tri-tip that you'll ever taste. They also set a pretty good standard for social distancing. So we actually, we went there and took some photos of what they have done up at Seaside Market, and we learned from them. So thankful to them as well.
Thank your mom for all of us. That's awesome. She made masks. My aunt sewed us all masks, and it was our Easter present this Sunday. So we're fully masked around here as well. Mr. Yap, I'll go to you.
Hi. So what I'm thankful for is at this point, my wife hasn't killed me, and that she is happily still working full-time, but at home, doing amazing things, still like managing the new world of online school for our 3 kids, and one son coming back from Lewis and Clark over in Portland. By the way, we went and took a look at the facility there. Amazing. I'm thankful for everyone being healthy and together. It's quite a learning experience being together in a household 24/7. I'm extremely thankful for technology in a sense that everyone has a way of checking in with each other. So, my friends at the club that I've had for years are constantly checking in with me. I'm checking in with them. Friends from high school, friends from college. That ability to reconnect and that choice that everyone has to reconnect, it's been truly amazing, and I'm grateful for that. As far as businesses, 2 come to mind, Fusion Sushi in Hermosa, big shout out to them, and my all-time favorite seafood place, Captain Kidd's in Redondo Beach, best clam chowder there is. Thanks a lot.
Recommendations, thank you. And let's go to you to wrap it up.
I am very thankful for our camping chairs and our driveway happy hours. So our neighbors all sit out in their camping chairs and do a driveway happy hour that I'm pretty sure has saved all of us at one point. So I love that. And then as far as a business is concerned, Fish Bar Manhattan Beach has turned, and they did this a couple of weeks ago, they turned their whole restaurant into a bodega where you can do drive-up service, as you mentioned, Annie, or you can put on gloves and you go through and do some socially distant shopping. So they not only serve amazing fresh seafood, they have all of the essential supplies. And then they recently just did, for Easter, adult Easter basket. So their most recent one is a Moscow Mule Easter basket. So really fun shopping.
Very fun. I could have used one of those on Sunday. Boss, I'll hand it to you.
Thanks. Well, again, thank you guys. This is our first regional What Lies Ahead, and unbelievably appreciative of everybody participating today. We're setting the platform of how we're going to do it. I love being able to take live questions from the members and be able to figure out, give you a sense of how we're thinking about things. My shout out or thankfulness is to our membership base, and it's fascinating. We've got relationships with people that go back 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 years. And over this last month, it's been fascinating having deep discussions with long-term founding members of our clubs up and down the West Coast, and just having a little bit of chance to breathe and talk about how this company has evolved and our relationships. And one of the first things I always throw to one of my members who's been with us for 37 years and is, once they've got done yelling at me for something, I've said, how many things have you had a relationship with for 37 years where you integrate, chat with us for 3, 4, 5 days a week for 37 years. And we end up getting to a pretty good place to have a conversation. So unbelievable appreciative of our members, definitely for the length of time people have been with us. And, we need everybody to stay with us in order for us to keep going. And so that's a big piece of the puzzle. My shout out's going to stay local. I'm on a big kick for how the grocery stores have helped us. I've actually, because of our office is here in San Francisco, I've been out of the office since the beginning of this on March 16th, and been able to come here and sort of keep the hands on the wheel. RJ's is the supermarket across the street from us that has taken very good care of the Bay Club family. I think we both have been here since 1970s-ish or so, and so very appreciative of the team over at RJ's, and local shout out to that grocery store here in San Francisco. Back to you, AA.
Thank you. Well, thank you to everybody on this panel. This first of a new format, including our members. I am thrilled with how it went today. I look forward to welcoming members from our North Bay clubs in San Francisco and Marin, our East Bay clubs in Portland, as well as South Bay, Redwood Shores, San Jose, and Santa Clara in the coming days, so that we can have the same conversation with those members and find out how we are working together to become essential for phase 2. And with that, we'll end episode 13 of What Lies Ahead. Thank you very much.